Welcome to MetroSTL. I'm your host, Antonio French. The St. Louis Blues have begun their defense of the Stanley Cup, but those wanting to spend a little time living in last year's glorious past have a unique option. The Missouri History Museum has opened a display focusing on some of the artifacts that came out of their championship run. Here's MetroSTL.com managing editor George Sales.
It's a fountain outside the Missouri History Museum offering proof that the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup winning slogan, "History Made," has some real legitimacy.
You know, I tell people that there are lots of moments in history where we say, I remember where I was when. Oftentimes when we're saying that, we're talking about tragic situations or serious situations. But there are people who are going to remember for the rest of their lives where they were when the Blues won their first Stanley Cup.
Inside, some of the relics of the magical Cup run of 2019 are on display as names like Schwartz and Gunnarsson take center stage in a place normally dedicated to Lewis and Clark.
So it's easy when people hear Missouri History Museum, they probably think of the mound builders or the steamboat era or building of the arch, and those are important historic moments, but sports can provide important historic moments as well.
For the Blues to be here in the History Museum after winning the Cup for the first time in 52 years just really means everything for the organization.
And to its fans, who even a full summer removed still can't get enough of the experiences given to them by the local hockey club. For some, this touches memories that go far beyond just the last 12 months.
From the days of playing street hockey when they first started to the very lean years in the 70s and 80s when they actually had cheerleaders in the stands. And it just brings back a flood of memories over that time span.
There's something to be said for having the foresight to gather all this stuff. From the perspective of the museum, equipment managers and other team employees also deserve the title historian.
St. Louis Blues did an amazing job of being historians, chronicling every puck that goes through the net and labeling it and making sure people know from what game that was, who scored it. Yeah, they were doing amazing history work, and that's why this partnership works so well, is because they were truly historians in their own right, helping us to tell this important St. Louis story.
For the team, the chance to share one more piece of the run with those who backed the club makes the exhibit special. Not all the big memories were on the ice, after all.
But the thing that I think sticks out to me the most, and also why this exhibit's so important, is the fact that the fans really came out. We had 55,000 people downtown for the Game 6 home game watch party, just watching outside in the street as the game's going on inside. And then the sheer numbers of people that came out for the parade to just celebrate with the players as they're running up and down the street with the cup.
To see the Blues finally win it, and to think back of all the players from Scotty Bowman, the first head coach, to Bob and Barkley and Glenn Hall and Jacques Plante and so many others over the years, to Gary Unger and Bernie Federko, the pride they have to feel in this organization. It just sends chills up your spine thinking about it.
Joining me now is George Sales. So have the players had a chance to see this display?
They have, and it was a cool way that they got to do it. The night before they opened it, they had a banquet at the History Museum where the players were presented with their championship rings, which are massive and very cool. So they got a chance to receive their rings and then kind of look around and check things out. It's not a huge display, but it's got a lot of the really neat things from key moments, pucks that were part of the part of the championship run, the winning goals from big games, that sort of thing. So they got a chance to relive it one last time as they move into the season. Because right now, of course, all they're talking about is got to put this behind us, got to move forward. Typical athlete speak. So this is their last chance to sort of revel in it, and now that's gone.
Great. And how long will this be on display?
It runs into late January, and so opportunity for folks to get down to the History Museum just when they happen to be in Forest Park or want to take a day. And it's not just this. Of course, the History Museum has lots of other things to offer. Right down the stairs from the blues display is the Pulitzer Prize exhibit, which is another thing that might suck you in and slow you down as you exit the building.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere. I think you've also did our next piece. Now we take a look at the new, and if you agree with the hype, iconic St. Louis wheel that is now open for business. The massive Ferris wheel looks to be an attraction all by itself, but there are some bigger picture goals for the wheel and its surroundings. Our George Sales takes a look at the first ride.
It is the newest addition to the St. Louis skyline, and the St. Louis wheel, in its 200 feet of glory, which by the way is taller than the Ferris wheel in Chicago, is now up and running. To be a first passenger, you had to carry some pretty serious St. Louis clout. Mayor Lyda Krewson was among the first aboard. St. Louis Cardinals president Bill DeWitt III was in the gondola next to the mayor's party, and the car that looked to be the center of the fun and drew all the photographers was a sort of mascots on parade with Fred Bird of the Cardinals, Louie from the St. Louis Blues, and the Billiken from SLU, all piled in for a look. The most notable thing from those who took the ride, without question, was what they saw from the top.
It was awesome. It was so incredible. The view is beautiful. It's fabulous.
It was a lovely view of the city, and I'm looking forward to trying it at night, too.
From the beginning of the midday ceremony, the bragging rights belonged to the view.
A completely new view of 20 stories high in the air. That's 50 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty.
We could speed up the trip to show you what the whole ride looks like. You make it to a peak elevation of 200 feet. That's about a third the height of the Gateway Arch, and offers a view of that gleaming structure over the roof of Union Station. Each gondola can seat up to 8 people, holds more than 1,300 pounds, and is equipped with climate control to handle whatever St. Louis weather wants to throw at guests on a given day. But to those who've been here through the entire construction process, just the fact this thing is standing, up and running, is a marvel in and of itself.
When I got here, we were standing on piles of dirt. The dirt as far as the eye could see. They had just begun, and the only part of the wheel that existed was concrete being poured into the ground. So from there to seeing everything ready to go is just spectacular.
St. Louis's brand new wheel is about much more than just the view in downtown West. It is yet another attempt to breathe life into a Union Station complex that has seen plenty of ups and downs over the years. The owners of the facility say brighter parts of that history are a draw.
Part of buying Union Station, we wanted to tell the history of what went on at Union Station and how it made St. Louis the third largest city in the United States. Everybody going from the East Coast to the West Coast had to come through Union Station.
And the Ferris wheel isn't the only nod to those days. An old-timey carousel, trains that will be used for special events, and even a nostalgic soda fountain are all part of the complex. There's mini golf, too. All that will open by the end of September, and the biggest prize of all, the new aquarium, is set to be ready by year's end. The price tag on the whole thing, $190 million. But if it can bring staying power to another city neighborhood, money will become a secondary issue.
I was just telling the director down here that it's beautiful and it's great to have this back here in the city, particularly this part of town, and more restaurant options, and just it's beautiful. So I really hope that we're drawing more people down to this part of town, and the wheel's great.
We're so happy to bring an iconic structure to St. Louis, something that enhances the skyline of St. Louis. But for Union Station as a whole, we really want it to be the place that when people go downtown, they're like, we need to go to Union Station.
Joining me again is George Sales. So what a incredible addition to downtown.
It is.
Are they expecting this to be a big draw for that area and also bring new business to Union Station and its surrounding businesses?
And that's the big thing. They expect this to be a draw, but they expect the entire complex to be a draw. And I think that the downtown West neighborhood and the ups and downs it has seen, the ups and downs Union Station has seen over the last 20 years and beyond are all kind of part of the big picture look at this. They see the Ferris wheel as a draw, of course. They've opened this new soda fountain project that's kind of old-timey and cool, and that'll draw people in. My kids are already dying to go check that out. They've heard about the milkshakes. That's in the old Hard Rock Cafe location. And of course the aquarium. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. That's the real key feature in this whole Union Station project. That's going to be open coming up here in December. So you take all of that, you got some mini golf and some other stuff like that, you put it all in one place, and they see that as a revitalization, so to speak, of Union Station. Then you go beyond that, you go with the soccer stadium that is expected to be coming into that area as well. And you've got a major influx of investment and a major influx of attractions in that downtown west area, and they see that as another opportunity for growth.
Yeah, Union Station has had a long history and many different forms over the years. Many of us remember the old mall and the fudge factory, the singing folks that worked there. Will there be any remnants of that old mall there?
You nailed it on the head, the fudge factory. They are bringing back the fudge factory. It was funny, when I did a story a couple of months ago, you may remember, on the progress at the aquarium project. And the guy from the project, kind of the group overseeing it, was very quick to point out the fudge factory would be making a comeback. That was the one thing at Union Station, it seemed like, that was still drawing business even when all those other businesses were shuttering. So we will have the fudge back.
Some good memories of those days.
Absolutely.
Thank you, George. Now we take a look at a celebration that is bridging the divide between two North City neighborhoods. Residents of the St. Louis Place and Old North came together to celebrate National Night Out on their 4th annual block party. It was an evening that many neighbors say was what is needed at this time.
We did was we saw National Night was coming up, and the owner from Crown Candy, Andy, the owner from La Mancha Coffee House, Veronica, and my husband Phil, they kind of put this idea together. Let's do a National Night Out between two neighborhoods, and we would call it Bridging the Divides.
The first time we had it wasn't a real big event. It was like, oh, National Night Out, and I'm like, we need to step up and be part of this, and we're kind of, this corner is kind of the anchor for the neighborhood.
So we started 4 years ago here. So I live in St. Louis Place, and at that time, St. Louis Place and Old North, we had a lot going on, and there was just this feeling of disconnectedness, if you could say.
Us and La Mancha, and then Megan and Phil Betts, who are real active in the neighborhood, both neighborhoods actually. We just talked about it. We thought, let's try and really give these, people a really nice party to, enjoy. Just to say, hey, thanks for, being our neighbors. So it's kind of grown over the years, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. So it's fun.
We kind of all, at that point, took on different roles. So I was the person that did the registering, did some getting the vendors and getting the police and everyone here. And then Andy was with the food, and Veronica, and my husband does the flyer design and other work. We've had it for 4 years now, to where we kind of we all know our role, and we've been able to work together and help put this on.
We get to feed everybody, and my friends are clowns, and they come down and they face paint and make balloons. Kids have a great time. We got the bouncy house. It's just a nice evening. And it's good to see people and talk to people.
We make sure we flyer both neighborhoods, post on social media that we're having this.
We're always working. Sometimes we don't get to talk to our neighbors. So now, I can kind of, meet people and talk to them and have a nice conversation.
The best thing about it is that I see people that we don't normally see at other events, or maybe not in day-to-day activities. So it really draws, I think, a lot of community members that we don't get to see every single day.
Joining me now is Bria Gremillion from the North Sider newspaper. Hi, Bria.
Hi.
Okay. So this was the 4th year for this event.
Correct.
How did it get started?
So Megan Betts, which is a resident of St. Louis Place, she, along with Annie, the owner of Crown Candy Kitchen, with Miss Veronica, the owner of La Mancha Coffee House, her along with her husband, the four of them came together to put on this block party for their community. And from my understanding, this was their 4th year. They just wanted to have a good time and enjoy each other.
Great, great. It seemed to be a very well-attended event, also family-friendly. What was the best part of the event that you saw?
Most definitely. I think that the best part, they had face painting, they had a balloon artist, there was a fire truck, the law enforcement actually were there to interact with community members, so it was an all-around great time for everyone.
Well, great thing. Thanks for giving us that report.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like and share our videos on Facebook. And check MetroSTL.com every day for new stories and videos. Until next time, I'm Antonio French. Thanks for watching.